Hi, everyone. Welcome to Elo's webinar. Thanks for joining us today. I wanted to let you know that your line will be muted, but we are taking questions through the chat panel. I'd like to now introduce Neeraj, who's our VP of Product Management. Neeraj will be leading the webinar today. Neeraj, would you like to take it from here?
Sure. Thank you so much, Rachel. Hello, folks, and thanks for your time. We have a big group, and we have a lot of material to cover. I wanted to start a little bit with a couple pages about Elo. Elo is a global company, as many of you know, and we have been in the touch business for over 40 years. We operate in over 80 countries, and we have one focus. Our focus is touch screens in commercial markets. We have the broadest portfolio of commercial-grade touchscreens globally. Generally speaking, in 4 categories. Our touch displays, these are desktop displays for a variety of applications. These are, you can see them used anywhere, all over the world. We have our open frame displays that are meant for building into kiosks. We have our compute line, which includes compute for Windows as well as Android. And we have our interactive signage line from 10 to 70 inches that's focused on signage and also kiosk and store interactive applications. So that's Elo in a nutshell. But the topic of the discussion today is some of our new products that we've launched in January. In general, we have 3 topics I'm going to try to cover. Our first topic will be our iSeries 2.0. We'll talk about what's new. We'll talk about a couple applications. We will then talk about EloView. EloView, as everyone knows, is a software-as-a-service platform for managing and provisioning Elo Android hardware. We'll talk about some updates from the last year. The product has really come along nicely, both from a commercial adoption perspective as well as from its resiliency and its scale. And then we'll talk about a new product called the Elo Backpack and what it means to our partners and adding flexibility with Android outside of the existing Elo product portfolio. 3 topics. We welcome your questions. Please send your questions through the chat window, and we'll take them section by section. And we'll be monitoring the chat window through the whole webinar. With that, let's get started with the iSeries 2.0. If you saw us in New York a couple of weeks ago or in Amsterdam last week, you probably heard about our 2.0 offer. Elo launched the iSeries group of products based on the Android operating system about 2.5 years ago. That was our first Android offering. It was the first product Elo did that was really focused on high-performance commercial-grade Android applications. Success of that platform has allowed us to invest in the next generation, as would be natural. The next generation iSeries is better in every way. First of all, it brings processor performance that's 2 times the existing product. It has the Snapdragon 625 8-core 2 gigahertz processor, one of the fastest processors for Android and ARM applications in the market. The memory and storage capacity is also increased. We now have the Android Nougat or Android 7.1 operating system. So it brings up the capability and the feature set in the latest Android operating systems. And it's still available in the 10, 15, and 22-inch sizes. So the sizes and the overall form factor is very similar. Obviously, as we change generations, we get things get things thinner. We work on our industrial design, get things more reliable. But the overall package is the same package. It's just performance upgrade. Because the iSeries was such a successful product, we were able to offer more choice and more flexibility with the iSeries 2.0. First of all, we have now 2 versions in each size. We have the standard version and the value version. The value version offers the same compute, but the features on the value version are limited to create a more cost-friendly option. The iSeries, while it is a great high-performance commercial compute platform, in the prior generation, we realized that we were leaving out certain very simple interactive applications that were very price sensitive. We can now cover those applications with the value version. Second point, all the iSeries models now are available in white as well as black. The white options are made to order. The black would be our standard stocked option. So now you have a choice to fit in with all the IT equipment or to kind of fit in with the new style in retail spaces where we see white more and more commonly. One more new thing on the iSeries is the optional Power over Ethernet. Power over Ethernet, as you may all know, is delivering power to a device via the Ethernet cable. This avoids connecting a power supply to the device. We have capability now in the iSeries for Power over Ethernet. It's a small optional accessory that you plug into the back of the iSeries, and once you plug that accessory in, all you need is the Ethernet cable rather than the Ethernet cable and the power supply. So for applications where routing power is expensive or difficult, routing AC power, this is a really attractive option. It will bring down the cost of those applications. Applications like shelf signage in retail stores, applications like conference room displays outside the conference rooms, and things of that nature are now enabled on the iSeries with the optional PoE module. Let's talk a little bit about some applications we have seen over the last couple of years on the iSeries. I'm sure some of you have seen this picture, or actually the store. This is a furniture store, and as you know, furniture stores, large, expensive items, and you have so much space to have furniture in the showroom, and all the rest of your inventory can live on the iSeries. This is an actual picture of a live application in the United States. And this is from the other side of the pond over in Europe. This is the iSeries in a car dealership. The display sits next to the car, and of course all the specs are there, but also videos and pictures and the kinds of things that make you feel great about the purchase you're about to make. Boats are a great example too. We have iSeries applications in boat showrooms. Boats are another example of a large discretionary purchase where audiovisual media help customers make a decision, help them feel great about the product that they're about to buy or the product that they just bought. A big application area for the iSeries is point of sale. Android and the Android capability is bringing all of the mobile innovations into point of sale. The iSeries is actually incredibly well suited for point of sale. And the reasons are very simple. Number one, reliability. And number two, connectivity. This subject of mobile architecture-based point of sale is a vast subject in itself, and Elo is investing heavily in this subject. We have many installations from stadiums and restaurants and enterprise retail in the point-of-sale arena. My colleague Sonal Apte will be presenting a specific webinar directly focused at this segment. So I believe that webinar is in the next 2 weeks, and I hope you will join that webinar to learn a lot more about all the different options in the point-of-sale space that leverage the iSeries Android platform as well as Elo's PayPoint platform. So I did want to touch upon Elo's kind of value in this market. So with the iSeries 2.0, we continue to lead in performance in the commercial market. If you look at Android and if you look at kind of the space of consumer and commercial devices, you'll see the market, the available field of devices kind of falls into 2 categories: devices that are commercial focused and devices that are consumer focused. Typically, devices that are commercial focused end up being low performance devices because they don't typically have the higher performance consumer grade microprocessors. And then devices in the consumer space, obviously your latest iPads, your latest Samsung Galaxy tablets are high performance, but they are often unsuitable for commercial applications. Elo has that unique position where we do commercial devices that are high performance. And that continues to be the case with the iSeries 2.0. In retail and hospitality environments, and by the way, I'm using that term broadly here, the Elo Android platform is suitable for all kinds of customer-facing applications. Point of sale, kiosks, employee-facing applications like time clocks, signage, and so on. All these products you see here on this page are the same motherboard, the same operating system image. They can run the same content. They are managed by the same SaaS EloView platform. What that means for customers is a huge synergy, both on the content side, but also on the cost side. Imagine everything in a store or everything in a museum was able to run on the same basic compute and operating system and content architecture. This is not something that's prevalent today, but this is something that Elo is pushing forward with the options that are available with Android from Elo. You are going to see some great examples of that as well. So with that, I think we will take a few questions. So Rachel, if you want to tee up some questions for us, and then we will go to our next section, which is EloView. And I'll leave us on this page so that you can kind of consume that.
Great. Thanks, Neeraj. One question that came in is, does Elo iSeries 2.0 support Android Device Policy Manager?
So it depends upon which device policy manager. I think if you're talking about the device policy manager from Google, or if you're talking about, so the answer is different depending upon which device policy manager we're talking about. But device management in Android becomes a very complex and very deep topic. So in general, we support management of devices remotely via Elo as well as third-party tools. So the general answer is yes. Specifically, it depends upon what you're trying to do, which features you're trying to access, and so on. And I'm happy to have an offline conversation about that.
Great, Neeraj. I'll help connect you with that individual after the webinar. I did want to mention we have a question related to the webinar itself. And for this individual who is asking if it's audio only, in fact, it's not. We do have a presentation showing right now to go with the audio. I would encourage you to go back to your registration link and enter the Ready Talk webinar as well. For anything that you've missed up to this point, We are recording, and we'll make that link available after the presentation has concluded. All right, so back to the question. Let's see. Neeraj, another one was about using the integrated camera to capture video and stream that to another Elo device or EloView.
Yeah, absolutely. The camera is available for an application that's running on the device to capture. The camera APIs are standard Android camera APIs. You can capture video. You can stream it. You can stream it to other Elo devices, obviously, but this would be dependent upon kind of how you build the back end for video streaming. We can help you with that a little bit, but I'm not sure of what the application use case is with that question. But the camera is available. Just the webcam is available for applications to access.
Application is to use it as a mirror.
Oh, yeah, you can absolutely do that. You can do a mirror application with the webcam that's in the iSeries. It's a pretty decent webcam, actually, as specs go. And we have seen customers do this.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We've got another question that came in. Does the Android version support Square card readers?
I assume that this means Square, as in Square, the company that has the card readers that plug into the headphone jacks of mobile devices. Well, so that's a great question. And there is a technical yes or no answer. And then there is a should we do this question as well. So, yeah, I mean, the device has a headphone jack. So it will do what headphone jacks can do. And one of the things headphone jacks can do is mag stripe reader, but we actually have a much better solution for reading mag stripe, and that is based on the accessory that Elo provides. Elo provides an accessory that plugs via USB and is encryptable. So I think you're walking in. I mean, is it possible? Absolutely. But is it recommended? I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend using the accessory, either a USB accessory, third-party USB accessory, or Elo's that plugs in, that's encryptable, and Elo supports that architecture, and it results in a much more secure and safer point-of-sale application. So I definitely recommend that approach. You do what you do on the mobile phone because there is no connectivity available with USB. On the iSeries, you would probably choose an MSR based on USB.
Okay, great. Thanks, Neeraj. I think that concludes the questions we've had, so we can continue on.
Fantastic. Let's move to our second topic, EloView. Well, I'm sure some of you are aware of what EloView is and what it does, but I wanted to quickly recap. EloView is designed for managing implementations of customer-facing devices primarily, but it can also manage any kind of devices. EloView has a kiosk mode. EloView delivers content. EloView does not manage or allow you to author content, but EloView delivers content from the cloud into the device. It has device management capabilities so that you can keep your kiosk, signage, or point-of-sale devices at the settings that you wish, and also deliver over-the-air upgrades to the operating system. This is a unique capability in commercial devices that EloView offers. EloView can also provision devices in an automated fashion. So as soon as the device comes out of a box, and now we imagine 500 devices being installed in 500 locations, and setting them all up to the right settings and the right content is actually kind of a monumental task. And we see in the old model people doing this in warehouses or people doing this manually. EloView actually does it in a completely automated fashion. You go online, you go into your EloView console, set up all the settings and content. When you open the box for the first time, it will automatically acquire all settings and content and take that policy, if you will, from the cloud and apply it to the device. Very, very powerful capability. We've also added some physical analytics, and I'll speak a little bit more about this in a couple of pages. In physical spaces, analytics is a big challenge. There are many different ways to do it, but they are not all connected. And Elo is working on some specific analytics capability. I'll speak a little more detail in the next couple of pages. I did want to talk a little bit about the kiosk mode. The kiosk mode is a way to limit a casual user or a viewer's ability to mess with the device. And there is a lot of settings in it. We can actually turn it into the point of sale terminal, where you actually do want a broad range of ability for a point of sale clerk to be able to do different things with the device. Or you can change it into a fully lockdown mode where pressing on and off buttons does absolutely nothing. Kiosk mode is extremely powerful, and it actually comes with EloView. It comes out of the box, so you don't have to buy any different licenses or install it or anything like that on kiosk mode. With respect to the updates, now, well, that was what is EloView, but updates, what we just did. EloView just achieved grade A from Praetorian, a leading security company. And we got this grade A for both our cloud side as well as our mobile. This puts Elo in the top 5% of the companies that Praetorian has evaluated. Praetorian is a leading vendor of security consulting and solutions. They are part of the Fast 50. They're part of the Cybersecurity 500. And for our customers in commercial environments, especially with unattended devices, security is really important. And we have invested right from the get-go on security in the EloView architecture. It's very nice to be able to boast about that achievement, which we received in 2017. Okay, so physical analytics. Physical analytics is a set of features in EloView. So it's available for all EloView subscribers. We think about analytics for applications and analytics for websites. That is a solved problem. Most websites use a host of analytical tools to figure out which pages did you go to, which pages you are likely to go to, how much time you spent, which links you clicked, whether you bought something, you didn't buy something. This has been existing in the world of the web for a long time. That same construct of analytics is also applicable and used in the apps, in Android apps. So within Android apps, what do you do? What's not available is what happened before the user got to the app. If you think about kiosk or signage use cases, there is things happening in the environment prior to someone walking up to the device and touching it or not. And what Elo is trying to do is we're trying to solve for that slice. We measure 2 metrics today, and we are eager to continue our investments and development in this area. But today, we do 2 metrics. Face time. So what's face time? Face time is number of people who looked at the device and for how much time. So if one person looked at the device for 10 seconds, we count that as 10 face time. That's a great metric on, is your device attracting attention or not? We do this based on the camera in the device. And in addition to that, we look at the interaction time or touch time. How many touches did that result? So we start to look at the ratios. Now, by itself, it'll be hard to make sense of the numbers. But over time, you can start to build a pretty good picture about you can build a pretty good picture about what's happening and which applications or which content is more effective, and so on. We want to engage with you on these features. One thing about analytics is that your usage will drive our roadmap. Would be happy to sit down with anyone who wants to kind of try this, play around with their implementation, give back the data to us, share that with us, sit down and further our roadmap and refine our roadmap. Very exciting set of features, but features that require data and real life data for us to make them more useful. I want to now touch on 2 or 3 features we did in 2017. Obviously, we did tens of, I think we did 30, 40 features, but I want to talk about a couple. And then if you have more questions, obviously we have more materials, your sales contacts or me, we can walk through a more detailed discussion around EloView. One of the most interesting things we did, and this is really good for devices out in the field, is the ability to lock ports. This feature is available on 2.0 devices. So it's available on the PayPoint that we just launched, the PayPoint Refresh and the PayPoint Pro for Android. And it's also available for iSeries 2.0. When you go to your EloView Cloud Console, you see a diagram in the Hardware tab in the device settings. And you click, and it turns off the ports. The nice thing about this feature is that this is not a software level feature, it's a hardware level feature, which means we're actually powering down the USB port. We can do that because we make the hardware and we also make the software. Another feature that we launched is whitelisting. There is always concerns around security that unauthorized content will run on the device. When you are in EloView mode, EloView can control that. We can apply this whitelist both to applications and to websites. As you know, EloView, part of the EloView content support is being able to run HTML5 content directly in kiosk mode. You can limit the websites that this kiosk browser can go to from this feature. On the application side, this is really cool because it will actually prohibit installs and execute. So you can't even install an application if it's not on the whitelist. Really, really powerful feature, a feature that's so simple to use, but takes a lot for us to develop and spend. Another feature that helps us with scalability and reliability is reboots. Everyone loves reboots. These devices are unattended. Sometimes network settings or other applications cause devices to freeze. And this happens all over the world, all the time. So what we've done is we've added some capability to automatically reboot the devices based on certain rules. So there are 2 ways to do it. Number 1, network timeout. In some cases, we have seen that networks will drop a device that has been on a session for a very, very long time. This is just a safety measure for the network to not keep devices sitting on that network for a very long time, keep open sessions. Well, we're finding out that our customers were experiencing connection loss because their router would kick the device off. But then how do you get the device back on? So we put in a feature where, hey, if the device disconnected from the network and that disconnect persisted, at 3 in the morning, it'll reboot. Or you can create any kind of timetable. So this improves the reliability in that unattended use case. As you know, a lot of EloView devices get deployed in an unattended use case, just as point of sale or industrial applications. Unattended applications are a big portion of EloView of the iSeries deployments. Really important feature. Well, these are just the 3 features I wanted to talk about, but obviously, as I mentioned, there's a lot we have done in EloView. there's a lot of infrastructure developments to support the growing number of devices on the platform, as well as feature developments. Any questions you have, the product is constantly developing. So any questions you have, please send them our way, either through your sales person, or if you have my direct contact info, I'm happy to answer them. We are now going to switch to the next subject, the Elo Backpack. So this is a good stopping point for us to take a few questions. So Rachel, do you want to tee up some questions for us?
I do, Neeraj. Someone was interested in whether or not you can put a device in kiosk mode if you're not already an EloView user and or do not plan to use the EloView portal.
So, well, the simple answer is no, because part of the EloView offer is the kiosk mode on the device and a whole bunch of other stuff on the device and the portal connectivity. There is a way to put the device in kiosk mode, but if it's in the kiosk mode, then it's going to report to the EloView portal, so you should really have it under your portal account because it's a vulnerability if you leave the device in unclaimed, if you will. So I think there are, I'd like to understand the use case a little bit more. The kiosk mode has a couple of ways to address multiple use cases, but the way the product is architected today, if you are disconnected from EloView, the only way to do it is when you exit kiosk mode. And so it's a little difficult, I think, to achieve what the question is what the person is asking.
Okay, well, I'll look for a follow-up, and we can also take that offline.
Sure.
We did have another question come in. With the hardware lockout options mentioned, if you do a factory reset, would that bypass the security system?
I see. Okay. I think I understand the question. I'm going to have to make a couple of assumptions on what the intent of the question was. If you did a factory reset on the device, then the device goes back to everything as if it shipped out of the factory, except it still remembers its owner. Okay? So if the device still remembers its owner, it is going to ping the EloView cloud and acquire settings and go lock itself again, as long as it had a network connection. So the answer to the question is no, because the device is going to go get the content, the settings, including the port locks, as soon as it comes back up and goes, all right, I'm awake now, I am brand new, but I know that I belong to this EloView account. Factory reset will not break that link between your account and your device.
All right, thanks, Neeraj. I believe that's all the questions we've had on this section.
Very cool. I look forward to hearing more later on about the analytics features and also any other features. We do have a full feature guide for EloView, which we will publish at the end of this webinar together with the webinar recordings. Let us now turn towards something that we are super excited about, but actually, physically speaking, it's kind of a small device. The Elo Backpack isn't launched yet. It will be launched next week, but I wanted to take this opportunity to share our next step in furthering Android in commercial use cases. The idea of the backpack started with the simple concept actually many years ago. It wasn't envisioned to be Android at the time, but we were thinking, hey, we make all these displays, and these displays go into many different applications, industrial applications, point-of-sale applications, immigration counters, restaurants, factories, everything. Wouldn't it be nice, especially with our kiosk displays, our open frame displays, which get built into machines, wouldn't it be nice to have a compute option that you could just mount on the back? At the time, we thought, hey, there's so many Windows compute options, and the world has just enough choice. So we didn't do much about that. But fast forward a couple of years, and with our leadership in the Android world, we thought, hey, really, the iSeries, the PayPoint, they're great products, but wouldn't it be nice to unshackle that capability out of the screen sizes we offer? Wouldn't it be nice to offer that capability for any screen potentially? So with that, the concept of the Elo Backpack was born. What you see on the page is a box, and the box is probably twice the size of an Apple TV. I'm sure everyone kind of have seen an Apple TV. It looks like an Apple TV. It's a little bit bigger, and there's a reason for that. And I'll get to that in a minute. And this box can today support over 50 Elo devices, including our open frame monitors, our desktop monitors, our large format signage. So EloView and Android for Enterprise is no longer limited to the Elo 10, 15, and 22-inch iSeries and the Elo PayPoint. It is now possible to put 50 different display combinations. Let's do a quick review of specs on that, and then talk about what this means for kiosks, especially our kiosk ecosystem. The Elo Backpack is exactly the same compute, the same. As a matter of fact, it's the same. It is a very similar motherboard layout as our iSeries. It's got the same processor, but it's without a display. It integrates with EloView seamlessly, just like the iSeries does or the PayPoint does. It has I/O connectivity for the Ethernet, USBs, and HDMI. And if you can see the connectivity panel, that right there, you can see why it's a little bit larger than the Apple TV. The Apple TV has much more limited connectivity. Very simple Android compute that can power kiosks, menu boards, random displays, and over time, we think that this would be a really powerful option for our kiosk integration partners. With the Elo Backpack, we are now bringing to the market the concept or the reference design called the Kiosk 2.0. Kiosk 2.0 is a reference architecture that makes kiosks more scalable, lower cost, and easier to deploy compared to traditional kiosks. So if you imagine a ticketing kiosk or kind of some of our traditional kiosk use cases, often they were based on compute that was a generic computer of some sort, a lot of cabling, a lot of power management, because if you have a computer inside a box, you have a thermal problem that you have to solve. So you have probably fans that amongst other things, blow dust inside. And you end up with this pretty complex solution that has many manual steps. We feel that the Backpack will turn kiosks into this new Kiosk 2.0 architecture, and it's going to reduce hardware costs because ARM architecture costs less. It's going to improve reliability because it's a solid-state device. It's a low power and a low heat device. You may get away without any fans of any kind. Obviously, for everyone who is designing kiosks, providing the appropriate thermal solution is their responsibility. I definitely am not saying that you will never need a fan, but likely to not need a fan. It'll enable slimmer aesthetics for that reason. And then, because it can run Android apps out of the box, just like the iSeries can, there is a huge content synergy as well. So leveraging content management infrastructure that customers already have for their websites and apps, and not having to create customized applications for kiosks. And then it'll reduce operating costs because this thing is out of the box, remote manageable. It doesn't need a truck roll every time something goes wrong because you can remote reset it remote factory reset it, remote data reset it. You can do all kinds of things. So this is Kiosk 2.0. We feel that our kiosk integration partners who have traditionally bought Elo touchscreens and built kiosks, they find this a step in the positive direction, in that it makes them more competitive. It makes their designs cooler. Let's take any questions, Rachel, on the Elo Backpack section, or anything really.
Sure. We've had a couple come in about the price point for the backpack.
The price point for the backpack, you should see that in your price list in about a week or so, but it will be lower than what you're used to with our Generation 1 Android compute for large format. This is definitely a solution that has been designed with price in mind, and you should see that reflected in what you see in the price list next week.
Excellent. Thanks, Neeraj. I'm looking through the questions. There was one about whether or not we have an option similar to this for Windows products.
We do not. We can. It's fairly easy to do, Windows compute. We do not have it on our price list or in our immediate plans.
Okay. And can we still lock the ports on a device via EloView?
So I assume that this question pertains to the backpack itself, and the answer is yes. And the answer is yes for the USB ports.
Okay, great. I think that is it for questions.
Fantastic. That really brings us to the end of what I was planning to cover today. So we talked about our iSeries 2.0, the brand new shiny object on the table. We talked about EloView updates and how this tool is becoming more and more useful, and with commercial success and commercial adoption, it is becoming reliable and scalable as well. And this new thing, the backpack, which is frankly the most exciting of all the products that I have done in the last couple of years for Elo, because it takes us in a direction that's new and different. We are super excited about what we have done. I hope you find these products useful, and I hope we continue our growth trajectory on commercial Android in 2018. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks so much, Neeraj. Great webinar. Everyone, I'm going to post the follow-up link one more time. The recording will be available within a day or two at the link here in the chat window. That's elotouch.com/links, LINKS. And of course, if you have any questions, you can contact your salesperson or email us at elosales.na for North America at elotouch.com. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Bye-bye.